where has the money gone? John, you're my friend, I understand that. But let's see. What happened to the money? What happened to the practices? Have you been just? Have you made sure that the accounts are correct? He reminds us that we truly cannot become pious until we hold ourselves accountable just as we would somebody who's in business. And the reminder for me is, this is a most important business for me. It's the business of my salvation before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And recognizing that only His mercy will save me, I need to constantly assess, and say, where am I? Where am I going? And muhasabah then also leads me to humility and allows correction. So once I assess myself, I sit down by myself and look at what have I done today? What have I done over the past month? Over the past year? It's a humbling experience, brothers and sisters. Because you're reminded how deeply in trouble one is. How I had set out such high expectations for myself a year ago, and how I have continued to repeatedly fail and falling short. So what it does is, it humbles me before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that I can turn to Allah and say, please, now you're Allah. I bow down before you, forgive me, and here is what I plan on doing. Guide me, give me your strength. So we focus on the mistakes that we have made, and then we try to rectify the action. Malik bin Dinar, Rasulullah spoke of this approach. He said, may Allah bless a man who tells his soul, are you not the perpetrator of such and such a sin? There is the acknowledgement of the sin, and then he is turning to my soul, and I say, you are responsible for these sins. And he then reproaches his soul and forces it to correct itself and abide by the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of that is tied to muhasabah. So it's the key to retaining and strengthening our iman and our amal. So keeping in mind, as Muslims, we submit to the will and commandments of Allah. As mu'mineen, we affirm our belief in Allah and His commandments and we act upon them. And muhasabah is this regular accounting which says, am I truly on the path of submission and acting on the belief that Allah has blessed me with? It avoids me from remaining in sin. So it avoids me from being a fajir, a sinner by action. If not corrected with serious muhasabah, it can lead to somebody who's a passive, an open sinner. And the soul becomes dead to what is right. My conscience becomes dead. And one becomes known for what is wrong and bad and evil. And we fall into the categories of tasaffurullah, munafiq, being a hypocrite, saying something, acting differently, and of course, open disbelief, being a Catholic. So when we accept the warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers and sisters, kullu ibn Adam qataya, that every son of Adam is a sinner to one degree or another, transgressor to one degree or another. And وَخَيْرَ الْقَتَائِينَ التَّوَّابِينَ, the best of those are the ones who return to Allah. So there is the qata, performance of the sin, then there is the muhasabah, assessment of what I have done, corrective action, that is tawbah, inshallah leading to maghfirah, and then ultimately salah. So it is that pious circle that I need to be focusing on. Acknowledging qata, doing muhasabah, doing tawbah, hoping for maghfirah, and hoping for our salah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us remain focused on that. Al-Hasan al-Basri also reminds us that the seasons and the days pass by, brothers and sisters. Yeah, Ibn Adam, he says, you are but a group of days. This is another interesting way to look at my life. He says, oh son of Adam, you are but a group of days. As each day passes away, a part of you has vanished. So, from yesterday and today, my life has shortened, a part of my life has vanished, and I have less for me to do the good. Less time for me to do the muhasabah. Less time for me to do the corrective action. And this exercise of assessment puts me on that path of review. And as I end, brothers and sisters, I'm reminded, particularly as we do our self-assessment. This has to be done in a formal manner. That is, I try to remind myself. Yes, we do it on a regular basis. Every day we assess ourselves, what has happened. But at least now, at least when we have a few days and time on our hands, if you were to sit down, take out a book or a note of paper and start writing down, it's a humbling experience. It's a reminder about how much more I need to be doing for the coming year and planning. So if we could do that, there are two elements that I want to remind myself and all of us. The Prophet ﷺ particularly warned us. So many of the blessings which most of mankind are overlooking, as-sihat and al-faragh. The two blessings about which many people are deceived: good health and free time. And particularly with the way the pandemic has progressed, and now they say there'll be this tridemic, the pandemic, the upper respiratory infections, the flu, and all of that. That will continue, my dear brothers and sisters, but it's a good reminder for us how important is the health and siha that Allah has given us. And am I taking that into account as part of my muhasabah, and am I using it well? In the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all of us, yes, we tend to be busy. I can have tons of excuses saying, I have multiple business commitments, this and that. But the question is, the faragh, the time that is given to me, how am I using those? So, I end with a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that inshallah, He gives us the desire to be in a constant mode of muhasabah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us truly assess ourselves spiritually, religiously, physically, and in terms of material status and possession, our families, our relationships. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the basira to know and understand the deficiencies that I invariably fall into, but He gives me the honesty and courage to acknowledge it for all of us. And that then we can put in place a plan of action that allows us to correct this for the future. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that an avenue of accepting our forgiveness of tawbah, so that we all are granted salah, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah. وخلفاء الراشدين والتابعين وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين، اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين، اللهم قوي ايمان اخواننا واخواتنا في كل مكان، خصوصا في فلسطين وسوريا واليمن وكل الجزائر وكل افريقيا وكل امريكا وكل اسيا، خصوصا اندونيسيا وماليزيا وإيران وإيراق وأفغانستان وهند وباكستان وبنغلاديش وكشمير وميانمار وتشين وروسيا وتركيا وفي كل مكان. اللهم قوي إيمانهم وثبت أقدامهم وانصرهم على عدوهم. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واجعلنا إخوة في سبيلك. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم اغفر لكل جميع موتى المسلمين. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم واعف عنهم وعافهم. اللهم انزل على قبورهم الضياء والنور والفسحة والسرور برحمتك عليهم يا غفار يا غفور. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذرياتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما. اللهم فرج كروب المسلمين وعامل روات المسلمين واستر عورات المسلمين واستر عورات المسلمين. اللهم انا نعوذ بك من كل سيء الاسقام. اللهم انا نسألك العافية. آمين يا رب العالمين. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي ليعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر. أقيموا الصلاة.